People don't know anything about her. All they know is what they hear.
She was the sweetest little girl you'd ever seen.
It was kind of funny, but like now I look at it, I see the love and the passion that my mother had for me.
Just a few weeks ago, Cissy Houston passed away at 91. But even in death, she left us one final message that's sending shockwaves through fans and family alike. So what dark truths has she been hiding since?
Whitney's death, did you see that coming? Did you?
No, I didn't.
You had no idea it was that bad?
No.
For years, Cissy fought to protect her daughter from Hollywood's clutches, fame, drugs, and parties, each one taking Whitney further and further from the woman Cissy had raised.
And she walks in with these sheriffs, and she says, I have a court junction here. You're either gonna do it my way, or we're just not gonna do this at all. She said, we're both gonna go on TV and you're gonna retire.
Was Hollywood itself responsible for the struggles Whitney faced? And what exactly did Cissy say in her final letter? And how did she truly feel about the fame that took her daughter away?
She did drugs like everybody else in this business do, and it's awful. But you hope that they make good decisions. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Right.
Cissy Houston was Whitney's first music teacher, a gospel legend in her own right. It's no secret that she shaped Whitney's career from day one, bringing her into choirs, teaching her vocal control, and instilling in her the dedication needed for fame. Yet, behind their success was a relationship marked by both love and hardship. Whitney often credited her mother for her love of singing, calling her the backbone of her career. But in recent years, fans have started to see the shadowed side of their bond. Was Cissy too controlling, or did she only want to protect her daughter from the industry's worst?
And she walks in with these sheriffs, and she says, I have a court junction here. You're either gonna do it my way, or we're just not gonna do this at all. She said, we're both gonna go on TV and you're gonna retire.
Tragically, Cissy's protective nature couldn't shield Whitney from everything. As fame and Hollywood parties pulled Whitney away, their once unbreakable bond began to strain. As Whitney's career skyrocketed, Cissy became more worried. The young star was swept into a life of glitz and glamour, a world far removed from the gospel roots she'd grown up with. And Hollywood wasn't kind. Reports of substance abuse, dangerous relationships, and relentless partying painted a picture that haunted Cissy. The industry that made Whitney a superstar was also pushing her down a darker path. For Cissy, each public scandal, each new rumor was a reminder of how much her daughter had changed. She once remarked that Hollywood was taking her baby away. But did she ever reveal what hurt her most about Whitney's stardom? By the early 2000s, the toll of fame was evident in Whitney's health and behavior, and Cissy was more worried than ever. While the first half of Whitney Houston's career was marked by million-selling studio albums and a promising move to film, she experienced a massive downturn later, fighting her addiction to drugs and alcohol and surviving a toxic marriage.
And he spit on me. He actually spit on me. And my daughter was coming down the stairs and she saw it.
For context, on July 18, 1992, Whitney and Bobby exchanged vows at her home in front of a star-studded guest list of 800 people, as reported by Lifetime. While the beginning of any union is typically seen as one of the purest stages of a lifelong commitment, the alleged DA that haunted the couple in the years following their wedding had already taken root on the day of their nuptials. According to Brown's account of the significant day, he witnessed Whitney snorting C before the ceremony, and she purportedly offered him some as well. Brown claims to have declined, as detailed in his autobiography Every Little Step My Story. However, this incident marked only the initial encounter with D for the couple. Despite the challenges, they managed to sustain successful careers and celebrated the birth of their only child together, Bobby Christina, in 1993.
It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
Both admitted to using substances and consuming alcohol, but this aspect of their lives remained concealed and only came to light years later. In the 2000s, when Whitney started making headlines, many speculated that it was likely Brown's influence that led to her struggles, given their vastly different media perceptions. However, it was revealed that Houston's substance use had begun years before she met Brown, a fact confirmed by her brother after her death. During their marriage, both Whitney and Bobby found themselves entangled with D-related incidents. evidence. The first notable headline emerged when Houston was discovered in possession of M in Hawaii in 2001. Subsequently, numerous stories about the singer's legal troubles shed light on a habit she had managed to keep hidden for years. Brown, too, had his share of encounters with the law, facing arrests for depossession and reckoning with legal issues from his past in 2003, as reported by CNN. That year proved to be eventful for the couple, with D dominating much of the news surrounding them, and a domestic violence incident further exacerbating their troubles. Despite Brown being charged with battery for A. Houston, the couple remained together, and it became increasingly evident that their relationship was toxic.
Fulton County authorities here in the Atlanta area have filed a domestic violence battery charge against R&B singer Bobby Brown.
The pressures of fame took a toll on Houston. In 2002, a year after being caught with D, she made a notable appearance on the interview show Primetime with Diane Sawyer. The infamous interview featured a stunning admission where Houston discussed her D use and coined the memorable phrase "crack is whack." By 2004, her D use had escalated, leading her to voluntarily admit herself to rehab for a few days, as reported by Entertainment Weekly. A year later, she returned to rehab for a second time.
Is it pills?
It has been. At times.
All?
At times.
The spotlight on Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's tumultuous relationship intensified when they became the focus of the reality show Being Bobby Brown. Premiering on the Bravo network in 2005, the show captured their lives over a few months the previous year. While the series primarily aimed to showcase Brown's career and personal life, Whitney Houston played a significant role. Brown hoped that revealing this side of his life would alter the public's perception of him, but Being Bobby Brown had the opposite effect. The show received less than favorable reviews and instead highlighted their troubled relationship and behavior towards each other. In one particularly shocking and unforgettable moment, Brown proudly discussed a highly personal and unconventional matter involving Houston, leaving a distasteful impression on many viewers. The reality show proved to be a disaster for the couple, who at that time could have benefited from positive public imagery. The cameras seemed to exacerbate their public image issues, and the show did not return for another season. Within about a year, their separation loomed on the horizon. In 2006, Whitney Houston filed for divorce from Bobby Brown, as reported by MTV News. Their marriage had been marred by controversy, DA, physical violence, and allegations of infidelity. It marked the conclusion of a tumultuous journey. Houston would be granted full custody of their daughter when the divorce was finalized the following year, and they went their separate ways. In a tell-all interview with Oprah in 2009, Houston accused Brown of being jealous and of subjecting her to both physical and emotional abuse.
The talk was I was with her because I needed something from her. All I needed was her to love herself the way I loved her.
Following the divorce, Houston made efforts to clean up her public image. Brown, on the other hand, remarried and had 3 more children with his manager, Alicia Etheridge. According to The Star, they tied the knot in 2012, just a few months after Houston tragically passed away in a hotel bathtub at the age of 48. Despite the drama that marked their relationship, it's noted that the love between them endured. Brown reportedly shed tears during a performance upon learning of Houston's death, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter.
If I could get those 2 days back. My daughter would be here.
However, it was proved that it was not her husband who ruined her, but some other people were involved in her downfall. You see, Houston's substance abuse caused her career to grow shakier, as she struggled to stay afloat in the entertainment industry and resurrect her career. In May 2011, the 47-year-old singer voluntarily sought help from a rehabilitation program. Houston faced major roadblocks while touring in 2010, unable to deliver during her live shows and attracting criticism from audiences. Lots of people speculated that the star was in trouble and needed help for addiction. According to Reuters, fans complained that the star was truly out of form and could barely get through her sets. At her Brisbane show, concertgoers decided to walk out of her show. Whitney Houston's rep revealed to People that the decision to enter rehab was entirely Whitney's. Whitney Houston is currently in an outpatient rehab program for drug and alcohol treatment, the rep said. Whitney voluntarily entered the program to support her long-standing recovery process. News of her stint at the rehab program was widely covered by news outlets, but details were few and far in between. In her final year, Whitney Houston was eager to dive back into work, especially with the film Sparkle. This was a big project for her. a remake of the 1976 movie about three Harlem sisters trying to make it as singers. Whitney played the mother of Jordan Sparks, the American Idol winner, and was thrilled to be part of a star-studded cast with music by R. Kelly. For Whitney, Sparkle was more than just a role. It was a fresh start in her career. She was excited to reunite with producer Deborah Martin Chase, her friend and former collaborator from The Princess Diaries. Deborah recalled their shared excitement about working together again, telling ABC News, "When Whitney brought up the idea of remaking Sparkle 12 years ago, I thought, absolutely. The project had been delayed for years, but they finally made it happen in 2011. Sadly, Whitney passed away before the movie's release in August 2012. However, Whitney was facing challenges. Years of smoking and drug use had taken a toll on her once incredible voice. Her former voice coach, Gary Katona, noted that her voice had been deeply affected. When they started working together, he wasn't sure if he could help her fully recover. Whitney was aware of the damage, saying to him, "I know I've hurt myself, and I need to make changes." Katona shared how Whitney often spoke about the pressure she was under and how much she missed her voice. She knew deep down that her habits had taken a heavy toll on her gift. In 2011, Clive Davis, Whitney Houston's mentor, spoke up publicly and said that the singer needed some time off. Whitney has admitted that she had to conquer a drug addiction and that takes all of her energy. But she also has had a very difficult time giving up cigarettes, Davis revealed. "I know that she's committed to do it. We're not going to make a record or an album until that golden voice, is there and is fully capable of just knocking everybody out." Whitney Houston was grappling with practical difficulties, including keeping her expenses together in the last year of her life. According to NY Daily News, things were so tough that at one point, Houston was forced to ask her friends to chip in to pay her mortgages. Her tough financial situation was attributed to several factors, including drug and a bitter legal fight with her stepmother over a life insurance payout amounting to $1 million after her father's passing. Clive Davis had decided to rescue Houston from her tough spot by pitching in to salvage her properties in New Jersey and Atlanta. But that's not all he did. Clive orchestrated Whitney's comeback in 2009 after years of substance abuse and a messy relationship which ended in a messy divorce. Her debut album, I Look to You, sold 304,000 copies in its first 7 days on the market, sending Houston back to the top of the charts and giving her the best debut week of her career. Houston still stands for the best of songwriting, the best of singing, and we know the public wants it, Clive said in 2009. There is a song on this album which is called I Didn't Know My Own Strength, and it really speaks for Whitney. She tumbled, but she didn't crumble. In any case, Whitney did not release anything after that since her voice had been ruined due to substance abuse, much to Clive's disappointment. But despite the undeniable vocal decline and the unmistakable shadow cast over Whitney's star power, Clive's optimism seemingly remained unscathed. Of course, one might wonder if his rosy outlook was fueled by the substantial coin he continued to rake in from her legacy. It's difficult not to speculate whether Clive's unwavering hope was propelled by the echoes of revenue streams rather than genuine concern. In any case, it was no secret that the music mogul appeared to be more invested in making money than in his protege's well-being. You see, Whitney died on Feb. 11, 2012, the day before the Grammy Awards. This was hours before she was to attend Davis's annual pre-Grammy party. At the time, the public and lovers of her music worldwide were devastated by her passing. However, Davis, Whitney's self-proclaimed friend and mentor, still hosted his pre-Grammy party in the Beverly Hilton Hotel on the evening of February 11th, despite the singer's body remaining inside the building until 12:45 a.m. At the start of the event, he shared a tribute to Houston, saying, "By now you have all learned of the unspeakable tragic news of our beloved Whitney's passing. I don't have to mask my emotion in front of a room full of so many dear friends." The Grammy Award winner continued, "I am personally devastated by the loss of someone who has meant so much to me for so many years. Whitney was so full of life. She was so looking forward to tonight even though she wasn't scheduled to perform. Whitney was a beautiful person and a talent beyond compare. She graced this stage with her regal presence and gave so many memorable performances here over the years. Simply put, Whitney would have wanted the music to go on, and her family asked that we carry on." Whitney Houston's death on the eve of the Grammys in 2012 came as a horrific shock, if not entirely without warning.
Paramedics raced to the 4th floor and found a lifeless Whitney Houston inside her hotel room bathtub. They tried in vain to resuscitate her with CPR.
The platinum-selling singer and actress was to attend Clive Davis's annual pre-Grammys bash at the Beverly Hilton that night, but instead she died in a room upstairs after accidentally drowning in the bathtub. It was reported at the time that the LA County Coroner's Office noted in its post-mortem findings that a white crystal-like substance was found in the room. There was also an open bottle of champagne and other personal items believed to belong to the late songstress. An autopsy was performed with the official cause of death listed as accidental drowning with atherosclerotic heart disease and just probably immediately prior to the drowning listed among contributing factors. Although Clive wasn't the one who got her hooked on substances, we still cannot dismiss Clive's involvement in all this. After Whitney's tragic death in 2012, Cissy wrote an open letter for her daughter's homegoing service, expressing the depth of her loss. "Dearest Whitney," she wrote, "the presence of God blessed our home with life, love, joy, and peace." The words are now famous, but within them lies a heart-wrenching prophecy Cissy claimed to have seen coming. Cissy revealed that she always felt Whitney wouldn't be with her long, a feeling she claims the Holy Spirit shared with her. She described a mysterious ringing at her door on the very day Whitney passed, convinced it was Whitney's spirit coming home one last time. Was this simply a grieving mother's intuition, or was there something more supernatural at work? The letter closed with Cissy's message to Whitney: "I loved you. I'll miss you. Thank you for being such a wonderful daughter. Rest, my baby girl, in peace." These final words, filled with love and sorrow, remain haunting to this day. But they also raise questions. Did Cissy know deep down that Whitney was never meant to stay? Meanwhile, Cissy Houston's death in October 2024 marked the end of a complex life filled with both joy and grief. She lived long enough to witness her daughter's tragic rise and fall, and in her final years, she faced her own hardships. Yet, she held on to her faith, convinced that she'd one day be reunited with her Nippy. Cissy's passing opens up a new chapter in the Houston legacy, a chance for fans to reflect on the incredible yet tragic life she and her daughter led. The haunting words in her letter continue to resonate, and now fans are left with even more questions. Did Cissy ever forgive herself for letting Whitney go to Hollywood? And what, if any, were the secrets she still held when she passed? That we may never know. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.